Welcome back to the Backyard Professor videos. I'm Kerry Schertz, the Backyard Professor. I'm discussing this argument against the Book of Mormon that there's absolutely, fundamentally nothing in its favor. Archaeologically, linguistically, historically, culturally. The critics who make this argument are simply wrong because this argument is simply false. Consider some of the Hebraisms in the Book of Mormon. Now, these are touching me, quite frankly, really powerfully right now because I'm in the process of teaching Hebrew on the internet. I'm learning some Hebrew myself. And we've resurrected the internet school of the prophets, so to speak, where we're learning the Hebrew of Genesis, and we're going through several Hebrew grammars right now. It is a remarkable thing that we have genuine Hebrew elements in our Book of Mormon. Remember, the Book of Mormon came forth in 1830. Joseph Smith translated it in 1829. He never got to Professor Sykes' until 1835. That's 5 to 6 years too late. This is a remarkable evidence for the Book of Mormon. And the Book of Mormon writers themselves. Mormon, in Mormon 9, I believe, says we would have written in Hebrew, but we've changed that. And they say they would have written in Egyptian, but they've changed that also so that no man knows their language. It is a reformed Egyptian language among the Nephites on those plates. It's not an actual language found in Mesoamerica. We wouldn't expect it to be. This is something the critics are misunderstanding. I'm taking as my text Echoes and Evidences of the Book of Mormon. This is a huge book put out by Farms discussing a lot of the evidences. It's a 2002 publication date. The construct state. Biblical Hebrew juxtaposes two or more nouns to form a construct chain. I can show you this in many Hebrew grammars that I have. I have probably about 8 or 9 different grammars, and every one of them talk about this. When this Hebrew form is translated into English, the term of is often added. And what this does is it shows the relationship between the nouns. In Hebrew, one says, tables of stone. We don't say stone tables. Or in Hebrew, one says, the word of the Lord, not the Lord's word. There are numerous examples of the construct state in the Book of Mormon. These include plates of brass, rod of iron, sword of Laban, temple of Solomon, the commandments of the Lord, the land of promise, the works of darkness, the plan of awful darkness or wickedness. Also, the term lords is found but twice as a possessive. We use the possessive form, whereas in Hebrew it uses the construct state. And this possessive form of the lords appears only twice in the entire Book of Mormon. That's how a modern would translate it. But there's hundreds of examples of the construct state in the Book of Mormon. This is on page 175. I'm going on page 176 now. In a possessive sense, in expressions such as commandments of the Lord, the name of the Lord, the people of the Lord, the presence of the Lord, the promises of the Lord, this is how it shows up in the Book of Mormon. Similarly, the term gods as possessive, G-O-D'(S), the possessive, something that belongs to God, is found only twice in the Book of Mormon. Whereas in the construct forms, we have the Church of God, the commandments of God, the kingdom of God, the Spirit of God, and so on, more than over 450 times. The overwhelming practice of preferring the construct state over the possessive and other related forms is being argued as a strong indication of Hebraic writing. There's also a repetition of the definite article. Unlike English, wherein a series of nouns can be introduced by a single definite article, which is our word, the, Hebrew repeats the definite article for each noun. This is very interesting. This kind of repetition is seen throughout the Book of Mormon. A prime example is, we did observe to keep the judgments and the statutes and the commandments of the Lord. The word "and" in Hebrew is just the letter Hey. Hey with the vowel under it, so it says Ha. Ha Elohim is "and God." Ha is the word "and." Or the is the word "and." Of course, it would be much more usual in English to render this as we did observe to keep the judgments, statutes, and commandments of the Lord. Do you see the difference there? Similarly, Hebrew also repeats the conjunction "and." And in some sequences, there are many "ands," such as "and it came to pass," instead of "it came to pass." All of those "and it came to passes" could be very Hebraic. Hugh Nibley showed long ago that it's also very Egyptian, interestingly enough. Those are the two cultural languages that Nephi says were in place in Jerusalem 600 BC, and he was learning them. The cognate accusative is one last item I'd like to share in this particular video. The cognate accusative is a direct object noun that shares the same root as the preceding verb. As in, Joseph dreamed a dream. That's in Genesis 37:5. Instead of the more customary English rendering, Joseph had a dream. No, it says Joseph dreamed a dream. The Hebrew Bible contains numerous examples of the cognate accusative, and so does the Book of Mormon. It contains many instances of this genuine Hebraic form. I will curse them even with a sore curse. 1 Nephi 2:23. Behold, I have dreamed a dream. 1 Nephi 3:2 and 8:2. I will work a great and marvelous work. You see how that works? They talk about build buildings. This was the desire which I desired of him. That's Enos 1:13. That's an odd way to put it, isn't it? This is the desire that I desired of him. But it is a genuine cognate accusative of Hebrew usage. Succor those that stand in need of your succor. Taxed with a tax. Work all manner of fine work. Judge righteous judgments. Sing the song. And fear exceedingly with fear. That's in Alma 18:5. These various examples demonstrate quite clearly and quite abundantly that the Book of Mormon has a genuine underlying Hebraic cultural influence to it. Again, this is one more argument that shows, one more piece of evidence, I should say, that shows the argument that the Book of Mormon has nothing at all in going for it in its favor. That argument is simply false.